I'm going to show you how to use a stack in order to set up the automatic layout for your app. Okay, so first we will select the bottom four buttons right here in the view, and then by clicking on it, we will put them into a stack. Once these are put into a stack, then you can go to the attribute inspectors right here to set up the alignments, distributions, and the spacings accordingly. Over here for the alignments, eventually we would like it to fill the whole screen, so we'll leave it as is. For the distribution, because we want to make sure that all these buttons will be evenly occupying the whole horizontal vertical space. So over here, instead of just putting fill, we would like to do fill equal. Then we will do a little bit spacing so that between each individual elements there will be spaces. Okay, so that will make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so doing the same thing, we are going to apply it for all the other 4 rows. So put them into the stack again, make them fill equally and spacing. Okay, repeat, put them into stack, fill equally, spacing, stack, fill it equally, spacing. Now we're done with these 4 stacks. The next step is I'm going to put all these 4 stacks into a queue. Okay. Because that represents my input area. Okay. So similarly, we're going to do fill equally and spacing as well. Now it looks pretty nice right here. Then we have to deal with the display of our calculator and also the label right here. So this time I'm going to select everything and put them into a queue. As you can see right here, these are not what we would expect, because over here for these 2 elements right here, they are not the way we would like it to be. Okay, so in order to adjust that, we also will do the same thing over here. As you can see, the alignment right here for the whole stack, overall big stack, is aligned to the leading. Okay, so we are going to change that to fill. We're going to change that to fill. But over here, for distribution part, we are not doing fill equally, because if we do this, that actually will make every single one of these stack elements inside of it to be of the same size. That's not what we want. So we will do Command Z to revert this process and leave the fill as is, but then we'll put the spacing as well. Up to here, we have this nicely laid out view right here. Then the next thing is we want to make sure that this whole thing right here, whenever you use a portrait or landscape view, they will expand to the horizontal area as well as the vertical area. Okay. Now, this time we're utilizing the same technique we use in order to utilize the pivot and then utilize the relative information in order to set up our corresponding location. So over here, we are still doing the same thing. Okay. Now, if you see my mouse cursor right here, actually, I want to select this whole overall big stack. Okay, and then set up the alignments. However, that if I do not click on the right area, I might select individual elements by accident. So if you're going to have this kind of stack view, multiple layers of stack view, if you want to select the right layer of your stack view, what you will do is actually you will hold the Control and the Shift button and click on it. Okay, hold Control and the Shift buttons and then click on this item. And it will show you from the outermost view to the inner part. Okay, this is the topmost one, this is the inner part that I would like to select this stack view. Similarly, out of all these multiple different layers, if you want to select the stack view, again, Control Shift, click on this. You can see actually inside of View Controller's view, I have two layers of stack view. Then I'm selecting the outermost one, which will make sure I'm getting the right one. Now the next step is to set up the constraints corresponding to our boundaries. So right here, I hold the Control key, drag, and drop. Then I'm going to add the leading space to the container's margin. Okay, so you add this constraint, and I will repeat the same step for the other three areas. Okay, so still Control, drag, and drop. And I'm going to add the vertical spacing to the top layout guide. Similarly, Control, drag, and drop, trailing space to container margin. Then the last one, Control, drag, and drop, vertical spacing to bottom layout. Now this step actually helps us to add these four constraints, but still, as you can see, when you're doing, even if you're doing this, okay, it's still not exactly what we're looking for. Okay, it looks a little bit nicer, but still not doing well in the portrait mode. So what we're going to do next is actually we are going to change the value for all these four constraints. Okay, so I'll show you two different ways to do that. One is you can actually double click. Okay, you can double click on this constraint, and then over here you pop up this this menu, not menu, this information. So you can just change this constant to 0. So you see the boundary of this stack actually stretch out to this border. And then we'll do similar thing for this other guy. So I'll click on this constraint right here to the top, double click, change it to 0. So you stretch out to the top and then just leave enough space for our battery and other condition system status information. Then the other way to do that is instead of double clicking on those, and we can click on this constraint and then again go to this attribute inspector. Over here for this constraint, it will show the constant value right here, and you can change this to 0. So it will stretch out to this boundary as well. Then the last step is for this bottom one. So I'll repeat the same thing. And then right now you'll see it actually stretches out all the way to close to the bottom. Okay, close to the bottom. And then I actually tested it out on my iPhone, but it's not leaving enough space at the bottom, so I want to leave a little bit extra space right here. So instead I put 10. Okay, so up to now we get our layout set up, and then we can actually do the portrait and landscape mode. Now you will see actually it is laid out beautifully. Okay, it is laid out beautifully. So this is the way we can do automatic layout for our app.